During the muscle car era, dealers knew that buyers wanted performance, and while the big three were eager to deliver, sometimes it just wasn't enough for those looking for a bit more. This led to many dealers either doing performance upgrades themselves, like Grand Spaulding Dodge or Chevrolet, but one partnership took performance to the next level, and that partnership was between Baldwin Chevrolet and Motion Performance, located in Baldwin, Long Island, New York. So let's get into the story of Baldwin Motion. To tell the full story of Baldwin Motion, one has to start with Joel Rosen. Joel grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and seemed to always had an interest in cars. But coming from a family without much money, they never had one. At the age of 16, he graduated high school and his dad bought him his first car, a 1955 Oldsmobile. He immediately got to work on the car, adding a host of performance parts that included a tri-power intake, side pipes, converting it to a floor shifter, and even a McCullough supercharger at one point. He attended Brooklyn College, but quickly realized the college life wasn't for him. So around 1957, he decided to enlist in the Air Force, where he became a reciprocating engine mechanic. While working on Fairchild's C-119 flying boxcars, Joel learned the finer points of how to tune an engine. After exiting the Air Force, Joel worked as a mechanic and was a partner at Neekland Service Station at the corners of Atlantic and Albany Avenues in Brooklyn, New York. It was far from anything exciting, as most of the time was spent servicing everyday cars. But by 1963, Joel had cut his teeth working with performance cars, including his own 1963 Corvette. With that, the decision was made to change the focus of the shop to be performance-orientated. The Neekland service station name was dropped and Motion Performance was born. The name Motion Performance was taken from an early 60s ignition system, Motion EI, that Joel installed on his and other Corvettes at the time. Now, Joel is mainly known for his performance Chevys, but he really got started with some snakes. Cobras, that is. Joel had his own hot 289 Cobra that he raced between 1965 and 1966. He raced a heavy Ram Charger called Ramrod at West Hampton Raceway and beat him. He also won the Canadian Nationals with that car, prior to wrecking it on an 8-mile track at Islip Speedway on Long Island. One day, while racing his Cobra at Island Dragway in New Jersey, Joel pitted next to Clem Hopp, the only other Cobra racer at the track. Hopp had a stunning brand new black 427 Cobra that was running only 14s in the quarter mile. After watching Joel's car tear up the track, Clem took his car down to Motion Performance to get worked over. The results was a car that set multiple records, including a 1064 at 131 miles per hour. The performance of these cars cemented Joel's reputation as someone who can tune and build a performance car. It's now 1966, and Motion Performance has moved to Baldwin, New York. 1967 rolls around, and Chevy launches the Camaro, the car that eats Mustangs.
Volcano. Camaro. Fiery new creation from Chevrolet. Camaro, the new car that's something else. This is the SS 350 with rally sport equipment. Wide, big car stance, shaped for action all the way back to its sporty rear deck. Standard safety features include the new GM-developed energy-absorbing steering column. Back seat up, back seat down. You can order yours with special instrumentation, too. Camaro and coupe or convertible. Add whatever you can handle, like hideaway headlights, big car engine. Camaro at your Chevrolet dealers now.
Joel, noticing that he's getting many people coming to him to work on these cars, decided it would be better to just partner with a Chevy dealership. Well, luckily, just up the street was Baldwin Chevrolet. Baldwin Chevy was not known as a performance dealership. It was more of a small mom-and-pop dealership that sold pickups and run-of-the-mill cars. But then General Manager Ann Simonin saw the potential for this partnership and agreed to it after Joel, with the help of Baldwin Chevy part manager John Maller, pitched the idea to him. After all, it didn't matter what you sell, the business was to make money. Shortly after, the first Baldwin Motion performance cars came out. 1967 396 Camaro Ss would be getting their big block V8s replaced with the mighty 427 all-aluminum V8s that made 425 horsepower and 460 pounds-feet of torque. Along with a Corvette-inspired hood scoop, these cars would come dyno-tuned and cost around $3,700. Not too shabby considering that's roughly around $40,000 by today's standards with inflation. It didn't take long before the success of the Camaro expanded into the rest of Chevy's lineup. Soon one could order a Nova, Chevelle, Corvette, or even a Chevy Biscayne or Impala with the Baldwin treatment. But what was truly unique about Baldwin Motion cars was that each car was built to order. Buyers would get a proven performance package that would work at the drag strip or the road course. But they would also get to decide on professional body modifications, paint, custom wheel packages. There was an entire catalog of things buyers could choose from. Literally, a catalog. If that wasn't enough, a Phase 3 package was eventually offered. All Phase 3 cars would come guaranteed to run at least an 1150 at 120 miles per hour, which even by today's standard is a pretty quick street car. If buyers weren't satisfied with their Phase 3 cars, they could return them, but no Phase 3 cars were ever returned. But if the performance factor alone wasn't enough to cement the legacy of Baldwin Motion, the advertising know-how of Marty Shore of High Performance Cars magazine ensured it was. Marty was a great editor, public relations expert, and promoter. The PR firm he would later start, PMPR, would go on to work with numerous auto manufacturers. They even had a part in the 1987 GNX, where he wrote the leather-bound book that came with the car, titled Buick GNX, a performance legend in its own time. But back in the 1960s, Marty was highly involved in product development and marketing for Baldwin Motion, and he used the tools at his disposal to showcase these cars. Baldwin Motion cars started getting cover shots on Cars magazine, full road tests, and some aggressive advertising. He was also instrumental in the catalogs, which I mentioned earlier, so people could see what a Baldwin Motion car came with. But of course, good things never last forever. If you enjoyed this story so far, then please like this video and subscribe to the channel, because part 2, I'm going to cover some more of the Baldwin Motion cars in detail and how the Baldwin Motion story ends. So until then, take it easy and see you at the next video.